Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today is the 18th of February 2020, so yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, a few of the interesting setups, a few of the instruments that we looked at this morning to see how they're getting along. But as always, before we do that, before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning, or actually not mentioning, but quick read through our risk disclaimers. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, before we jump in, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we update on a daily basis. So yep, guys, I believe you can find a lot of useful information here for yourself if you visit jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there. Now then, let's jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the S&P 500. Now I had a quick overview of this one yesterday. So the US indices returned to action today, but basically what I was saying yesterday, that if we get a nice good push above the 3,385 territory, then yes, we could see a further move higher. We could see another higher high, and yep, well, the sky's the limit for this one then. But what I was saying, that given that we are already quite overstretched to the upside, there could be possibility maybe to see a bit of a correction here to the downside. From the overall perspective, yes, we are still trading above this medium-term upside support line taken from the low the 3rd of October, although it is a bit of a tentative line, but nevertheless we will keep an eye on this one. But what from the short-term perspective, what you should keep an eye on is some of these key support and resistance levels, or in this case actually more of support levels, because this level here, the 3,348 zone, could play out nicely as a good area of support. It also almost coincides with the 21 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, and in a way, if it holds, we could see a nice rebound and a push back to the upside. So long story short, basically something like this. And let me just quickly put this one on the chart here. Let me just drag it here. There we go. So something like this could be possible, of course, but if this area starts getting well, it starts failing to withhold, and we see a slide below it, then yep, we could consider a deeper extension to the downside here. But don't forget that all this move lower could still be seen as a temporary correction before another leg of buying. But again, for now, from the very short-term perspective, we may see a bit of a correction. And looking at the cash index, we can see that the price is currently balancing around the 3,368 zone. So basically around here somewhere. So yep, in a way it's kind of working out nicely in regards to this scenario, but all eyes are on this 3,348 territory. If it holds, we could see a nice rebound. If we get a nice break below this, then well, I mean, we could in a way examine a bit of a deeper slide lower. Gold. Now gold is popping higher to the upside here, popping nicely, and this is what I was talking about in my previous videos, where I was talking about gold, and I was saying that if we get a break of this downside line, then yes, of course, that's wonderful. Could be good news for the buyers, but ideally, to get a little bit more comfortable, we would prefer to see a push above the 1594 territory. This is the high of the 2nd of February, and basically a nice good push, a strong push above it that could could lead towards higher areas. We could then aim for the 1612 zone, which is the highest point of January. So in a way, guys, for now all eyes are on this barrier. We are very close to it, so let's see how this is going to play out, and yep, we'll take it from there. And for now, of course, we are, let's say, cautiously bullish, as we are still waiting for a break of above this level. In terms of the downside, now with the downside, of course, we would like to see a break of this short-term upside support line taken from the low, the 12th of December. But as you can see, it's kind of a bit of a long way still, unless something drastic happens and we have a steep, sharp sell-off here. But if it continues to move in a gradual pace like this, but this time to the downside, it might take a while until it could get to this upside line. So for now, the main scenario for us is to the upside, but we need that confirmation break here above this 1594 level. DXY, so DXY is popping to the upside. Look at this move here today, and of course overall we're still above this upside support line taken from the low, the 31st of December. So in a way, again, we're trying to find a good, decent resistance area for this one. So for now, looking at this picture, we can consider the next potential area of resistance being this one right here, basically the highest point of October of last year. So and that's roughly around the 99.67 zone. Now it seems that the index could be on its way towards the psychological 100 level, but again, for now, guys, in a way, before it, let's assume if it could reach the psychological 100 zone, then before hitting that, of course, it could retrace back down at some point. But and looking at this picture, you can see that yes, we are quite overstretched to the upside, but that said, it's for now, we could have said the same thing around here basically, but as you can see, it continues to pop higher. So that's why we're going to be targeting this level here first, the 99.67, which is the highest point of October last year, and then after that we'll take it from there. Maybe it'll decide to retrace back down and go for a bit of correction, but at this point in time, it's a little bit difficult to talk about the downside unless we start seeing a sharp fall below the 99.14 zone, and that's basically the low of, is that correct? No, that's not the low of today, is it? There we go. Yes, that is the low of today. So 99.14, nice good drop below this could also open the path towards lower levels, because this would also place the price below the 21 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. So something to consider, guys. Good potential opportunity here to short later on when we see that confirmation reversal, because for now it's just one-way traffic to the upside. So that's why be very careful with those shorts. USDJPY. USDJPY also, of course, pushing to the upside nicely. Although the equity markets are in a bit of a slide right now. Of course, you would probably expect the yen, safe haven currencies like the yen, the CHF, to be more well, to be a little bit stronger, and they are against some other certain currencies. But in this case, against the dollar is the strongest one, one of the strongest ones, because the pound is in a way one of the stronger ones today. But we'll get to that one in a few minutes. But looking at this picture, still the same idea remains, as I keep talking about this one in all my videos, where I'm saying that we need to see a nice good close, at least of a 4-hour candle below this 109.65 level before examining further declines, because as you can see, we keep getting these overshoots, but we don't get a 4-hour candle close. So in order to consider some downside here, at least in the near term, we need to see at least a 4-hour candle close below this 109.65, and only then we will aim for lower areas. For now, yes, it is pushing higher, but even so, ideally we would like to see at least a push back above this little high, the high we saw yesterday near the 109.97 zone, and only then we could consider a potential move higher towards the the high of last week near the 110.14 zone, or even going all the way here higher towards the highest point of January near the 110.29. So for now, guys, long story short, yes, it is pushing a little bit higher, but to be honest, we would prefer to see a push at least above the 109.97 before considering a higher, slightly higher levels here. AUDUSD. Now, with this one also, I've talked about this one in my recent videos, where I was talking about this barrier here, the 0.6668 zone. So in a way, for us to consider further declines, well, we need to see a drop below this level first, and only then we will consider further declines. So as you can see, this downside line continues to hold. So the downside line is taken from the high of the 1st of January, sorry, the 1st of January, and it continues to hold. Yes, and it kind of, we saw the bears pushing the rate now back towards this 0.6668 zone. Ideally, we would like to see a strong drop below this before kind of examining lower areas. Now let me just jump into a daily chart on this one, as we need to capture a few, well, actually it's not even going to be a daily chart, it's going to be probably a weekly chart. There we go. So you can see that this is the area that we're targeting right now. So if we do get a drop below that 0.6668 zone, yes, we will start considering a potential move towards these lows of February of 2009. So the lows of February, the lows of March here. So yep, guys, those are the ones to keep an eye on if we get a drop below that 0.6668 zone. For now, everything's kind of leaning towards that, but again, we cannot really talk about the downside yet until we get that break below this territory. GBPCAD. Now GBPCAD here is popping nicely to the upside. We did get some good data from UK. Let me just double check that very quickly, guys. So not bad data, let's put it that way. Only the average earnings index, only their average earnings kind of disappointed. The unemployment remained the same, the 3.8. The employment change, there we go, that improved. It came out better than expected. So yep, something that the market kind of picked up on, and we saw the pound exploding here against the CAD. It's on a more of a moderate pace, or should I say a moderate explosion to the upside. So here we are keeping an eye on this one, because on some other ones, on some other pairs where, for example, it is trading against the GBP Aussie or GBP NZD, yes, it exploded heavily to the upside, but here the Canadian dollar is still trying to fight back, but we're going to keep an eye on this little area here, the high of last week near the 1.7324 zone. A nice good push above this would confirm a forthcoming high, and yep, we could target levels like the 1.7356, or even going further north towards the highest point of January. And let me just quickly put this one on the chart. So the highest point of January near the 1.7481 zone. So again, guys, for now, all eyes are on this little barrier here. A nice good pop above the 1.7324 could, yep, open the path towards higher levels. Now, in terms of the downside here, of course, focus on, or should actually keep an eye on, let's put it that way, keep an eye on this little upside support line taken from the low of the 20th of January, and then yes, of course, if it breaks below this little level, let me just put this one on the chart. If it breaks below this little level, basically the low of today, this would place the rate below not only below this upside line, but also below the 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart. So something to keep an eye on, guys, something to monitor. But again, for now, it's kind of trying to make its way higher. Let's see if it can push above this barrier here, the 1.7324. If it can, then yes, keep your eyes on the high of the 5th of February, and then we'll keep an eye on the highest point of January near the 1.7481 zone. So again, guys, very attractive setup here building up, but again, let's wait and see which way that's going to break through to. EURUSD finally on this one. So I talked about this one this morning, and basically what I was saying, that as long as it trades below this downside line, there's still a good chance for this one to drift lower, because for us the upside, we would need to see a nice good break above this 1.0878. This is what I was talking about this morning. You can see that the downside line continues to hold. We saw a nice good strong drop below the 1.0826 zone, and yep, what I was saying, that aim for the 1.0777 zone, because that's going to be our main target. It almost managed to reach this area, just fell shy of a few pips from doing that. Again, we still have a full US session to go through, so in a way there could be a possibility for this one to drift a little bit lower, especially if DXY continues to drift higher. Now jumping into a daily chart on this one, and let me just quickly review for you this 1.0777 zone, and there we go. Let me just drag this one here. So basically this 1.0777 is the high of the 20th of April here of 2017. So a very good potential area of support, but don't get me wrong, if it fails, then yes, we do have some good areas of support right here. For example, the low of the 21st of April of 2017, and that's roughly around the 1.0682 zone. So something to keep an eye on as well. We'll go slowly, step by step, to the downside, because don't get me wrong, even on the daily chart we are quite overstretched here to the downside. As you can see, this is the daily chart. So in a way, maybe at some point we should be getting ourselves a nice reversal here, but for now it's really difficult to talk about that reversal. You can see that it continues to drift lower. For now we're targeting this 1.0777. We'll see how it performs here. Our oscillators here as well are still pointing to the downside, so on the daily chart, so there's not really it seems like that there's no potential reversal in sight yet. Of course, don't get me wrong, for now it might change very quickly, but for now it's still to the downside. Okay guys, I really hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching it till the end. If you want to join me tomorrow morning, as always, at my Traders Espresso, that's 7 o'clock GMT time. For now, I hope you have a beautiful evening, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow at my Traders Espresso, 7 o'clock GMT, where we're going to pick up on some of these instruments, some new ones as well, and we'll try to find some good setups for the day. So yep, keep your eyes on that one, and yep, join me tomorrow. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.